Hi, this is Sara with Posh Pooch Designs, and today I'm feeling kind of silly. So I decided to wear my fun hat. A little later on in our video, I'll explain to you why I'm wearing this silly hat. Actually, the dogs had to go outside and go potty, and it's really windy, and my hair's like everywhere. And so I decided to wear my fun hat. But also, it ties in farther along in our video. Is everybody out there? Have you got your coffee ready? I sure got mine. This is a shameless plug for Posh Pooch Designs. Got it? Oh, I forgot my straw. Good morning, Denise. Well, today we're going to be discussing skill levels for crochet patterns. And one of the questions that I get the most is, this pattern says it's an easy pattern, but it's too hard for beginners. And really the answer is clink. Clink, Denise. If you got your coffee guys out there, clink in. Anyway, the answer is that an easy crochet pattern is not the same as a beginner crochet pattern. There are big differences. So if you are a beginner crocheter and you're working easy patterns and you're thinking that they're too hard, go find some beginner patterns and start with those. And we're going to discuss the difference. Good morning, Wendy. You got your coffee? Clink in. All right. Anyway, the difference is there are 4 levels of crochet pattern skills. And I printed off this here, and I got this off the Annie's crochet pattern site. You can also, these are standard, and you can find these anywhere at the Crochet Guild, Lion Brand, Red Heart, any yarn company, clink, any yarn company that has yarn and also has patterns, you're going to find these skill levels. There's beginner, easy, intermediate, and experienced. And there's 4 levels. Now, some designers, like me, we add a few extra ones in between. And one that I do sometimes is I'll put easy to moderate, but not intermediate. And the reason I do that is because the pattern is an easy pattern, but it might have one technique in it that makes it a little more complicated. And I'll put that technique in there, but it's really not an intermediate pattern because it's not on that level. It's still an easy pattern. For instance, there might be a row where there's a front post double crochet, and that's the only row you do it on. Well, I don't want it to be an intermediate pattern because it's really just a front post double crochet. And so therefore I'll put it, like what I said, I'll put it at easy to moderate. So that's kind of my own thing. And there's a few other ones that I'll do sometimes. One of them I do a lot is easy peasy lemon squeezy. You know. So anyway, are you liking my wig? Like I said at the beginning, I was out in the wind with the dog, so my hair's kind of crazy. But actually I had planned on wearing my wig today because of something later on in our video. Okay, so the 4 that are the standard skill levels for crochet. The first one is beginner. And beginner projects for first-time crocheters using basic stitches and minimal shaping. And basically, it's where you're doing maybe a washcloth and it's all in double crochet, and then you single crochet around the edge maybe. That's something similar that uses all single crochets. Thanks. For a beginner project. And then when you go to an easy project, you may have a little more shaping, like maybe a neckband or a waistband, but it's all really simple stitches, single crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, nothing fancy, no fancy techniques. And then when you get to intermediate, that's when you get to your more fancy techniques. You may be doing shell stitches or maybe a twist or front post, back post double crochets, or any of those stitches, front loop, back loop. Those I put under the easy inner, the easy moderate that I do, front loop, back loop. It's just knowing where the loops are. But anyway, and then you have an experienced, and that's someone who's been crocheting for years, or maybe you just picked it up, but you're really good. But I do have some friends like that, and they just picked it up, started crocheting, and can do anything. Some people have a real easy time reading patterns, and some people have a real hard time reading patterns. Of course, we talked about the abbreviations last week in our video, and this week we're just talking about skill levels. Now, what do you do? For instance, if you're doing, one of these, even in the beginner pattern, and you don't understand what they're talking about. How can this be a beginner pattern? I don't understand. What do? You contact the designer. Most designers, just like me, have no problem whatsoever with our people who are doing our patterns contacting us. My email is in all of my patterns. It's on all of my blogs. It's on my Facebook page, my Etsy shop. Anywhere, I don't mind a bit for people to contact me and ask me a question. Now, sometimes I may not be able to get right back to you because I do have a life. Not much of one, but I do have one, and I may not be able to get right back to you within a few minutes, but I do try within the same day to get back to those questions. One thing that's been happening lately is that some of my emails coming from my blog have been going to my spam folders. And so I'm learning to check those more because I know your questions are important to you and they're important to me also. So to answer the question, I'm doing an easy pattern, but I'm a beginner, so I don't understand. What do? First of all, if you're a beginner, you need to be doing those beginner patterns. Start with the beginner and then work your way up. And once you feel more confident with your skills, move right up. And there's no time frame. You don't have to be a beginner for a year. If you started last week and you're confident, go on, do some of those other ones. See, I love a challenge. And that's why I love doing weird, funky stitches. I love to twist it around and turn it upside down and hook in loops that aren't normally hooked around and like that third loop and all that stuff. I love that kind of thing. A lot of people hated the crocodile stitch. Oh my word, I love that stitch. It's so much fun. So anyway, those are your skills. And if you don't understand, contact the designer. Another thing you can always do is Google. Google is our friend, believe me. And I often talk about Crochet for Dummies. That's one of the best resources if you're not into doing a lot of videos. Some people just really, I'm that way. If a video is more than 15 minutes long, maybe even 20 minutes, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not. I don't have time. Unless I'm traveling in a car or something and I've downloaded it. I'm just not going to. And so that Crochet for Dummies is great. Okay, so we talked about crochet skills. And there's so much confusion between these two. And remember, the beginner and the easy are not the same. The easy is one step up from the beginner. Okay, so what's going on at Posh Pooch Designs this week? And the reason I'm wearing this funky doodle hat is because I love it. First of all, it's so much fun. And it's a pattern I designed about, oh my goodness, was it 2 years ago? Around Halloween time, we were just having some fun. My daughter was up visiting, and we designed some of these patterns. And I love doing them all in different colors because it's just a basic rib stitch, and you just do shorter for the bangs. And it's got a child and an adult size in there. But my shout out today goes out to Claire Sullivan. She has a fantastic YouTube channel. Her YouTube channel is Bob Wilson 123. And the reason that I'm wearing the wig and I'm shouting out to her is she's done some of my patterns on her YouTube channel. Now, as far as my YouTube channel, I will only be doing some of mine, and most of mine are not full out. Hello, Kathy. Thanks for joining in. Anyway, the shout out goes to Claire Sullivan and Bob Wilson 123, and I'll put her link at the bottom of our video. And like I said, the reason I'm wearing my silly wig today is this is one of the patterns that she did a video on for me. And she's really good, and I learned some fun things from her. One of the things is we were having a little bit of a communication issue because in America, we call these our bangs. But in Australia, which is where she's at, they call these their fringe. And she kept saying, bangs, what are bangs? And she was saying fringe, and I'm like, what are fringe? And we finally figured it out. It was so much fun. Plus, I love listening to her videos because I love her accent. Anyway, that's where the shout out is. And like I said, she's got a great Ravelry page and a great YouTube channel. I'll put those links at the bottom of the page. Okay, so we talked about levels, crochet skill levels, and then we talked about the shout out. Now let me tell you a few things that are going on this week at Posh Pooch Designs. We did a two-part video yesterday. Dog bone. We talked about this last week, and we did the first video is for the dog bone applique. You can put this on anything. A pillow, a dog sweater, your hat. Anybody who loves dogs loves to have a little dog bone on everything. Backpacks, shirts, everything. Then you take this same pattern, and in part 2, you extend it, you make 2, and you stuff it, and you make these great little dog bones. Now, my dogs love these, and I stuff them with yarn. And someone asked me when I did a video, they said, do you put a squeaker in there? I do not put dog squeakers in my dog toys. And the reason is my mom had this sweet little dachshund, and she got, hello! Yay, I'm so glad. Anyway, I don't know why you can't hear me. Can everybody else hear me? Last time when everyone couldn't hear, I told them to refresh the page and it worked. You might try that. Anyway, Denise can hear me. Thanks, Denise. Anyway, what I was saying about the squeakers is my mom's little Doxy got a squeaker stuck in her intestines, and they had to surgically remove it, and we almost lost her. She has since passed on, but it was quite a traumatic experience for my mom because she really loved her little Doxy. And so for little dogs, I really recommend that you don't put that little squeaker in. And the reason is, if you've ever seen those little squeakers, they're the perfect size to get caught in a little dog's throat. If you have a bigger dog, you know, because my dogs, they love to tear these apart. And I let them tear them apart, then I sew them back together. Anyway, that was the videos that we did yesterday. And one that I have coming probably tomorrow or the next day, it just depends, is this wonderful new throw that I made to match my new yarn studio. It's got the teals and the browns. And I'm going to do a little video just to explain how to do this stitch and all of that. We won't be doing the whole pattern. It's just going to be a help video. And hopefully that pattern, once I get the test back, should be maybe even by Friday. We'll see. But that's what's happening. We are going to be having a crochet along. And this is sponsored by Red Heart. And so I'm kind of waiting on the details yet. We've got the pattern designed and tested, and we're just waiting on a few of the details for that. And I'm hoping, I wanted to have it ready this week, but I think it'll be Monday before we get that ready and up and blogging. And it's going to be a video 4-step crochet along. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to do it. The other thing, I have a pattern coming out called Sleepy Bear Teether Levy, but I haven't got the test back for that. And that's going to be in the new Red Heart yarn, Baby Hugs. And that is the neatest yarn, so soft. Anyway, so that's what's happening this week at Posh Pooch Designs. I did want to talk a little bit. I had 2 questions, and I'll talk about those, and then we'll be finished. As you know, I don't like to keep my videos really, really long. Is it hard for you to take me serious in this wig? I just love wearing it. I can't help it. Okay. So anyway, 2 things I want to talk to you. First of all, I had a question about how to print patterns off my blogs. And we've talked about this before. Okay. The best thing to do, because some of my patterns do have a PDF that you can download, but some of my free patterns do not. And they're on my blog. They're free for you to use. But if you want to print it, there is one ad that pops up, and you need to hit that X over on the right side. And this one woman was, why in the world do you have to have all these ads? And so let me explain to you why my blog has ads. Number one, the ads on my blog is part of my income. It pays for my web page and blogs and my cameras and my instruments and computers and things that I need. And you're the only one that can't hear it, sweetie. Did you try refreshing your page? Because everybody else is saying that they can hear it. So I'm so sorry. I wish it wasn't doing that. Just try either refreshing your page. And are you watching it on Facebook? I mean on iPad or phone? That might make a difference too. But just try refreshing. I think that helps because that's what happened last time. Anyway, but and one thing, when you're printing off my blog, do not hit print page. That's not going to work. The best thing to do is to highlight the center section where the pattern is, copy, paste it to a document, and then print off that document. And one thing you can do when you paste it to a document, you can take out all the other nonsense you don't want on there. And then you can print it. Okay, but do